Hi, this is Bishop Craig in Northern Michigan, and this is Take One, Peace Be With You. We are pleased to report that St. Peter in Unionville, Michigan has called the Reverend Jeff Bond to be their pastor as Pastor Bill Huther, who's been serving there, moves into retirement. And we are excited that St. John's in Higginsville, St. James Metz, and Trinity Akiak on Sunday, the 3rd of October, we will have the ordination and installation of Seminarian Mary Hughes, who will be serving those three congregations. Ordinations at 4 o'clock on Sunday. If you are up in that neck of our woods, you're welcome to worship with us. So, some good news. Hellos always seem to be paired with goodbyes. And so in October, we will be bidding farewell and Godspeed to Pastor Jennifer Michael of St. Peter in Battle Creek, who has accepted a call to Tennessee. So we wish Pastor Michael farewell and Godspeed. So I received a nice email from Sam Beals of Samaritas for my birthday, wishing me birthday blessings and expressing his gratitude for the work our synod and its congregations are doing as we welcome refugees from Afghanistan through LIRS and Samaritas. Last week I reported what a couple of congregations are doing in response to that. Trinity in Grand Rapids, Pastor Bob Lindstrom reached out to report that Trinity made a $40,000 gift to LIRS to help the initial arrivals on the East Coast, and is establishing a fund to assist Samaritas with Afghan refugees coming to Grand Rapids, and I think there's $27,000 in that account or in that fund. So we're grateful to Trinity Grand Rapids for their generosity. I'm grateful to all of our congregations who are working on this effort. I believe the Stony Lake Conference filled 2 U-Haul trucks with household goods. So I'm grateful that there's something positive, something helpful, something loving our neighbor is going on. And I ask your indulgence and your forgiveness if I don't manage to mention everything that's going on in this Take One video. As I sometimes need to remind everybody, these are unscripted, and if they get to be writing and memorizing another script, sermons are enough writing and memorizing a script every Sunday for me. So this week, the big event for me this week is the Conference of Bishops, ELCA Conference of Bishops, which kicks off Wednesday evening and is most of Thursday and a lot of Friday. Again, we're doing it by Zoom, so the bishops will not be together in person, but we will be gathering on Zoom. And I imagine it was supposed to be kind of a get to know the new bishops because there's been a few. I imagine over Zoom it'll be a businessy kind of meeting. So I reviewed the agenda once, but that was a few weeks ago. A lot has happened, and I'll have to review it again. And then on Sunday, as I say, we get to go up north near Rogers City and have an ordination. So that is this week. The readings for these Sundays are getting kind of difficult. Last week, we heard that if your hand or your foot or your eye causes you to stumble, cut it off. And this week, Jesus turns to the cheery subject of divorce. To put him to the test, they ask if it's lawful for a man to divorce his wife. And it is a testy question. I can remember when I was a young pastor, kind of being nervous about this sermon, because what do you say if you take a hard line against divorce? You're going to alienate many of your parishioners. And if you don't take a hard line against divorce, what are you doing? You're standing against what Jesus seems to say in Scripture. So, what is the answer? The answer to the question of the divorce is, I think, that there's no such thing as a clean, painless divorce without consequence. That there is always brokenness in divorce. There's always disappointment. There's also failed expectations. There are loss of dreams, especially when children are involved. It's terrible. And even if children are not involved, and even if the couple is fine with it, God is disappointed, because God's intention is for more than marriages to end in divorce. And so Jesus quotes, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one. What God has joined together, let no one put asunder. God's intention is for marriage to last. So there's no such thing as a clean divorce. We can say that. We can also say that while not all of us are divorced in terms of marriage, all of us are divorced in terms of relationship. We all have experienced and caused broken relationships. So judgment is not ours. Sometimes divorce is the best alternative, but that doesn't mean it's not without pain and consequence. The good news in all this is that even when we cannot maintain relationship, even when we experience, even cause relationships to break, God's relationship with us in Jesus Christ is unbreakable. Not even the cross could break God's relationship, God's love for, God's faithfulness to us. And in the resurrection, God declares that not even death will break the relationship, and we will share God's abundant life. And we are joined to that relationship in baptism, and nothing we do or nothing we fail to do can cause that relationship to break. That's why, for Luther's perspective, we baptize infants. They are joined to the relationship. We are joined to the relationship before we do or don't do anything. So if I was preaching on divorce this Sunday, thankfully I'm not. I'm preaching an ordination sermon. That's what I would have to say is there's no divorce that is not without pain and consequence and disappointment. None of us can judge because we're not in the relationship, but God's relationship with us is unbreakable, and that frees us to try hard to maintain relationship and to try again when relationships break. And as I sit here thinking with you now, it occurs to me that there are a lot of broken, even family relationships in our society today over things like politics and the pandemic, relationships that are broke, even in families. So divorce is more real than we may want to admit. So that's take one. Please pray for Pastor-elect Mary Hughes on Sunday, and for these congregations that are both welcoming and say goodbye to pastors, and pray for our efforts as we welcome refugees from Afghanistan. I'm Bishop Craig. Peace be with you.